My name's Ian Johnson. I'm a Barry Town fan. I've been asked to just say a few words about Dave Hughes and his time at Barry. Obviously, that was quite some time ago. I mean, ancient history, in many people's worlds. Dave Hughes, was now obviously in his mid to late 40s. Joined Barry in 2003 in September, and he left the club in November 2004. So he was with us for about 15 months. I think the context is really important, because I'm not sure quite what read across will be able Newport fans will be able to make from his time there back 20 years ago. Barry were completely on their arses at the time. The club had been professional thanks to their owner Neil O'Halloran, who sadly died in 1995. And the club had been professional for about 8 years until summer 2003, and long story done short, the club simply ran out of money. It was cash flow rather than debt that brought the club down. They went into administration, and one of the guys that came along to help the club at that time was a young Dave Hughes, who whose own career as a footballer had sadly been cut short by injury. He'd been at Aston Villa and Cardiff City, and he came and joined us. So I think at the very least you can say that the guy was willing to take on one hell of a challenge. A club that had just won the Cymru Premier, had been playing in Europe a couple of weeks earlier, and now was literally playing very little Morgan League players in the Cymru Premier, and as you'd expect, getting hammered on that basis. So Dave took over. He was a great guy. I think he'd gone well with everybody, if you consider the situation that the club was in. He was there as the main kind of manager for probably 4 or 5 months after he joined us. The club was then brought out of administration by an owner who is best described as a character. Dave was then assistant manager for a couple of months with Colin Addison, who I think is probably well known for most people of a certain age, with his career. Colin left at the end of the season. Barry were relegated by, in the end, only 4 points at the bottom of the league. We think that we weren't able to pay players in the first half of the season was a fairly good turnaround. Dave took over as manager again in the summer following Colin Addison's departure. The season looked like it was going really well for us. Reached a point where won 11 consecutive matches on the trot in Tier 2, what's now Cymru South, what was then Welsh League Division 1. And then Dave had the plug pulled on him. The chairman, the new owner who'd bought the club out of administration, turned around and said that he didn't have the money coming through that he wanted, and therefore he was cutting the playing budget. And at that point, Dave, understandably, after 15 months of going through all of this, left the club and moved on. But he left I think a good vibe with Barry fans. I think everybody recognised the effort and the work that he put into the club to try and keep it afloat, and to deliver on his own expectations. As you say, when he left the club, which was the end of November 2004, I think if we'd had that team and Dave in charge, then we'd have bounced straight back to being in the Cymru Premier, which obviously as a Barry fan I think is where we belong. But that didn't happen because of the chairman. You can look up the Barry's chairman at the time, Stuart Lovering, elsewhere, and see what fans think of him. But Dave, I think, did a good job, or as good a job as he could have done under the circumstances. He's gone on and proved himself as a coach elsewhere, and I'm really looking forward to seeing him as a manager. So good luck to the guy. Take care.